right. So over the 50s, we're starting to put it. Obviously, I think some people, I think there used to be an argument that was Joe Flacco, but Joe Flacco was back, but Joe Flacco was obviously many receivers and the but Joe Flacco wasn't necessarily going to the Hall of Fame. They've had one quarterback that is going to the Hall of Fame. The greatest running quarterback in history. So, maybe the greatest two-way player. So, even despite the playoffs, the lack of playoff success, remarkable. Number one, Joe Flacco. So, they can take the most running back. Okay, so I'm still going to put it very close to it, but going down the whole career, Jamal Lewis, number one, best running back of all time. The Ravens, I definitely Ray Rice, Madison Center, said that I don't think you got to put him here. Check the number. Ray Rice, I think that's second best. Ray Rice, even though it's only one season, there's some things was the best season I think we saw. Derrick Henry probably wants to all of it. I think also he's sticking around for a lot of exciting things. Around the corner, that fullback. Tough choice. I agree with that. Patrick Carr, etc. But I'm sticking with a lot of things. Let us do that. Fullback and also.
Sorry about that. Now you can hear me. He's a good fullback, and also he can run the ball. So I think he was, out of all the choices, the best running fullback of all time that the Ravens had. So definitely you have McClain there. Wide receiver. Don't have a lot of great receivers, obviously, in the Ravens history. So we have some good receivers. But number one, starting is Derek Mason. I think he was probably the most successful, had a great Ravens career. Another one, like Derrick Henry, former with the Titans. Maybe you think of a Titan. But I still think D. Mason, I think you got to put him as the best receiver there. He's starting with Anquan Bolden. They started together. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Oh, boy, Steve Smith. Yeah, man. Steve Smith's having some problems here with women and all that, et cetera. But that doesn't take away from his Hall of Fame career. Steve Smith, I think, is the best wide receiver. I think third receiver, I think he's a guy you could put him in the slot. You can put him anywhere. You can put him outside. Quadri Ismail deserves his spot. I think, like you talk about, as far as the length of a Ravens career, probably the best one on the list you think about is just the Raven. Quadri Ismail, success around the 2000s when the Ravens won the Super Bowl. So definitely you got to think about Quadri Ismail. Torrey Smith, I thought it was a mistake when they let Torrey Smith go. I'm still putting him there. Zay Flowers may get much higher on this list, but not quite there yet. I got to put him at 6, Zay Flowers, but he makes the team. This is the guy that's going to take the top off the defense, Zay Flowers. So those are 6. I would roster those 6. If I'm taking 6 Ravens receivers all time, I would take these. Pretty easy for the most part here at tight end. 3, you can argue, is Shannon Sharpe. That was debatable, whether it's Shannon Sharpe or Dennis Pitta. I kind of gave a nod to Pitta because of his long career with the Ravens. I think he's more of a career Raven, where Shannon Sharpe, as successful as he was, he's kind of thought of as a Bronco. So that factors into the list as well. Who's a Raven more through and through at times? In that case, when it's close like that, Shannon Sharpe clearly had a better NFL career, but Pitta as a Raven, I take him third. I'm Mark Andrews over Todd Heap. Heap, I think these are the 2 most successful tight ends, no question about it. Heap not as successful. Heap actually took his team, was on the team when they actually won Super Bowl. So I think Heap, long career. Andrews, I think no question about it. I think these are the two greatest tight ends in Ravens history, no question about it as well. Offensive line. So number one, I think the left tackle, I think there's no question about it. Jonathan Ogden, I think, is probably the greatest. You could argue he's the greatest left tackle at any position in or greatest offensive lineman in the history of the league. I think he was outstanding throughout the whole course of his career. Ben Grubbs, I'm putting him in at left guard. I think that's pretty good. I mean, we haven't had great guards, but I think you got to put him. I'm gonna put him on the left side, even though I know he played a little bit of right side. Mike Flynn. I definitely think I'd take Mike Flynn, probably the most successful of the long-term guys. They're tempting to maybe take a Matt Burke or whatever. But again, in this case, I kind of took a guy who was a Raven for a longer time. Burke's not. I don't know if he's ahead of Flynn, but I'll take Flynn there. Marshall Yanda, I think probably the greatest right guard, definitely in the history of the Ravens. I don't think there's any question about it. Yanda, I think definitely is going to the Hall of Fame. You put Grubbs and Yanda, I take them against anybody. Ronnie Stanley, number 5, definitely he kind of reclaimed himself last year. So Ronnie Stanley was really, really good last year. I think like it's a shame that we didn't get more healthy Ronnie Stanley like we have a lot of our career. Orlando Brown Sr., I'm going to take him as well. Orlando Brown Sr. was just a dirty dog. He would fight all the time. Low round pick. How'd he get himself noticed was just a fight, right? He figured he just didn't have a chance to make the team. He would just go ahead and fight all the time. So that's what he went ahead and did. Matt Burke is on here. He's not going to start over Flynn. We mentioned Matt Burke. That second. Kenichi Osemele, I think, is with the 8 as well. Defensive line. Michael McCrary. Michael McCrary is at a defensive end. Trevor Price is on the other side as well. Defensive tackle, Rob Burnett. So he's definitely on the line. So the 3 ends, you want to take Michael McCrary, Trevor Price, Rob Burnett. You definitely want to put them at ends. Assuming you're going to run the 3-4, I think, in general. I think that's what they've run most of the years. I understand doing the Super Bowl run. 3-4, I think this is probably you have a better group of linebackers. So I'm going to take that. So McCrary, you put him at one end. McCrary, you put him at one end. Trevor Price, I put him at the other end. And Burnett, I'd have him back up. Burnett was a very underrated sack guy for the Ravens for many years. Haloti Ngata, I think it's only a matter of time also too before he gets in the Hall of Fame, one of the great defensive players of all time. Sam Adams and Tony Siragusa together. Rest in peace, the late Tony Siragusa. So I definitely put them on the line. You're not going to be able to run the football. Haloti Ngata, Sam Adams, Tony Siragusa. No such thing as running the football on this defense. Definitely put them as one of the great offensive linemen there as well. Linebackers, I take 8. Sizzle, number 1. I don't think there's any question about it. Sizzle, I think, only a matter of time before he's in the Hall. I'm surprised he didn't already get in on his first try. I think he's greatest pass rush in the history of the Ravens. Ray Lewis, no surprise, inside linebacker. Ray Lewis, I think, is the greatest. The only question is Ray Lewis the greatest football player that ever played on defense? Definitely the greatest inside linebacker. You know, Roquan next to him. Roquan's really good. Roquan, I think, like, is probably the guy. Had it not been for Ray Lewis, I think we'd be talking about him as the greatest as the greatest inside linebacker of all time. When you talk about a Roquan Smith, Peter Boulware is one of my favorites. Injury probably cut short his great career that he would have had. Still had a great career, but definitely adding. I remember when he added Peter Boulware, it added so much to the defense. Like when they were a new franchise, even I think it was last year, but having Suggs and Boulware, it would be something else. Jamie Sharper, you could put him in inside linebacker, probably played that outside in the 4-3. You probably put him inside along with Adalys Thomas. You could put him on the edge. Adalys played everywhere. Adalys Thomas, you could back him up on the edge. Bart Scott, I thought I'm going to place him there. Bart, I think, was pretty good. I think Bart, good, solid career there. And CJ Mosley, the guy that actually got ahead, they drafted, I think, after Bart Scott as well. I'm taking those 8 as well. So those are my linebacking group for the Ultimate 53. Cornerback. Definitely got to take Chris McAllister. I think Chris McAllister is still the best cornerback in the history of the Ravens. I definitely would take him. Jimmy Smith, I would take him there on the other side. Jimmy Smith, I thought, kind of like Ronnie Stanley in a sense. He was really good, but he had so many injuries. I think that's the only reason why he wasn't great or more of a higher receiver. But I think Jimmy Smith, I think, is a wonderful cornerback. Really liked watching him too. Really tough. Ladarius, I would definitely put in the slot. I think he might be the greatest slot corner the Ravens have ever had. Ladarius was very underrated too. Ladarius, he had a couple years where he was really a top shelf corner in the league, underrated. Top 5 for sure. Very underrated. Lamarlon Humphrey's there. Some people are going to argue with Marlon having him a little higher. That's fine. Those first 4, you can put them in any order, any spot. If you want to put McAllister, Humphrey, Webb, that's what I would do. But I got no problem. Dwayne Starks at 5. I think he was a partner for Chris McAllister. I think he'd fit in on any defense as well. I think him and Torrey Smith, had they stayed Ravens, I got to tell you, they would have been fantastic. All right. Ed Reed at safety. So definitely he's the leader of your back end along with Rod Woodson. So Reed, you could probably put at strong safety in this situation. You could put Rod Woodson in free. Rod was such a good tackler. You could put him anywhere. Reed, I think, is the greatest ball hawk, I think, in the history of the NFL. Not only was he fast, great instincts, everything as far as the league goes. Woodson, I think, was one of the greatest corners of all time. But with us, he was a safety. So he was a good safety, outstanding player for us. Eric Weddle, I think, probably was the guy after Reed as well. Reed, Weddle, I think, is one of the better safeties in the history of the NFL. I think he's very underrated. So many good years with the Chargers, solid career with us with the Ravens. He was a leader right away. So he's definitely a guy that can play. Kyle Hamilton, I think, short tenure, but there's no question about Kyle Hamilton. I think I'm going to take him all day and twice on Sunday because he is outstanding in several areas at the line of scrimmage. Catching the ball. Versatility, I think, is key. You can put him anywhere on the line. Chuck Clark, I think this is the thumper, the hitter as well. You may see Chuck Clark again here with the being a free agent as well. The last spot here, special teams. So we got 6 guys here for special teams. I'm going to take, obviously, the GOAT, Justin Tucker, as my kicker. Maybe there wasn't such a thing as a better NFL career as Justin Tucker had. Sam Cook, for so many years, not going to be with the team this year because no longer working with the squad, I don't think, as a coach anymore. Shout out to the late Jacoby Jones, rest in peace. I think he's the greatest kick returner. I think it's tough for me to go against Jermaine, but you talk about kick returner, I got to go with Jacoby Jones over Jermaine. I definitely want Jermaine as the punt returner, return punt in the Super Bowl. Great Turk, great Raven as well. Snapping the ball is Morgan Cox. Of the whole Wolf Pack is there. Sam Coke, Morgan Cox, and Justin Tucker. And here's a name you don't know. Now, Benny Thompson, I think, was one of the greatest. Like, some of you younger guys out there don't know the special teams guys, like a Bill Bates, like a Steve Tasker, like this. When we started the franchise, he was a great special teams guy with the Browns, and he became with us with the Ravens. Any team with Benny Thompson would work. You had to double team him on special teams. A great team career on special teams. There you go. The 53. So there you go. So those are the ultimate 53. So if I'm going to roster Ravens team for all time. There you go. Those are the guys that I'm on my team. All 53. The Ravens with the ultimate 53.